Hey guys, 𝗬𝗲 Productions here. In this video, I'll be continuing work on my custom ped by adding more features like jiggle bones, hair scaling support, accessory props like hats and glasses, and finally, a custom outfit accessed through the in-game wardrobe feature. This video is a follow-up to my previous video titled GTA 5 Ped Modding Tutorial from Blender to GTA 5 with Sollumz. In that video, I've walked through the process of porting the custom ped you see here from start to finish, and I'm going to take this opportunity to address some of the responses to that video. A few comments stated that the process is simply too complicated. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot I can do about that. Sadly, game modding, especially GTA 5, is a complicated process. However, I do have a couple of suggestions on what you can do. The first is create an IG version of a ped instead of a protagonist. Unfortunately, this will prevent your ped's facial animation from being compatible with cutscenes. So instead of removing the facial bones from the IG skeleton, you'll keep them and weight your mesh to use the IG facial bones, thus eliminating the step of having to import a CS skeleton. Proceeding with a ped with an IG skeleton gives the option to use add-on peds editor if you wish to refrain from editing add-on peds metadata manually. Another thing you can do is skip splitting your ped into multiple components and have one single component for your ped. Just make sure you name it after the head component, as it is the only component required for a ped to show up. Do make sure your shaders are linked to the same texture. If you're experiencing other issues with your ped, you can post them in the Help Sollumz channel and the official Sollumz Discord server. I recommend seeking help there instead of posting YouTube comments. To further increase the likelihood of someone's response to your issue, include an image of the problem in your post. Right, with that out the way, let's get this tutorial started. This video will be cut into the following segments. First is adding jiggle and hair scale bones to the rig. Second is adding props like glasses, hats, and a motorcycle helmet that will hide part of the hair. And last is alternative clothing, which includes a custom dress and Birkenstock sandals that will reduce her height when worn. The first step is to add some additional bones. I will add 2 pairs of jiggle bones for the butt and front bangs of her hair and a hair scale support placed inside of the head. Luckily, in the expression dictionary file I included in my previous video, the jiggle and hair scale support is already added to the script. All I have to do is create them in Blender with the correct bone tag value. For your information, when I mention the word expression dictionary, I'm referring to the 𝗬𝗲𝗃𝗏 file, just so you know. I've put a link for the file in the description below. Start off by hiding all the drawables except for one. I'll use the rig inside the head component to add the new bones. First, to make that cake bounce, I duplicated 2 existing bones and placed them in the proximity of her butt. The left side bone is called spring left butt, and the right is called spring right butt. In reality, you can actually name it whatever you want. The important part is their bone tag value. The bone tag value is an identifier for a bone. GTA 5 refers to bones by their bone tag value and not by their name. In the Bone Properties tab, make sure they both are parented to the skeleton pelvis bone. You can only change the parent value if you are in edit mode. Next, change to pose mode and scroll down to the Bone Properties section. If it's collapsed for you, click it to expand. Here, you can define the bone tag value for the selected bone. For spring left butt, set the bone tag value to 64655, and for spring right butt, set the bone tag value to 34912. If you're using my expression dictionary file, it's important you use those specific numbers as they won't work otherwise. Also make sure the flags for the bones include rotation X, rotation Y, and rotation Z. With the new bones added to the rig, weight paint the mesh associated with that area. In my case, it was the upper and lower 000 components. Next, to give an illusion of physics, I want the front bangs to sway when moving around. Follow the same procedure when adding the new bones for the hair as you did for the butt. I named the left hair bone spring left hair with bone tag value 64656 and the right bone spring right hair with a bone tag value of 34914. Again, adding the proper bone tag values is required when using my expression dictionary file. When done, weight paint the bangs to the new bones. These bones also include rotation X, rotation Y, and rotation Z inside the flags property. Lastly, let's add the bone that will serve the purpose of hiding parts of the hair when a helmet is being worn. I duplicated another existing bone from the rig, located it in the center of her head, and renamed it MH hair scale with bone tag value 50788. I weighted the ponytail with a very low value, 0.100 to be exact. You can scale the 𝗏_hair_scale bone down to give you an idea of how it will look in the game. This bone contains scale X, scale Y, and scale Z in the flags property. With all that done, your ped is now ready for export. Before doing so, make sure all remaining drawables have been replaced with your new rig so they too contain your new jiggle and hair scale bone. After export, be sure to update your YFT file as well so they also contain the additional bones. Testing my ped in-game, the jiggle bones seem to be working. However, looking at the jiggle bones for the front hair bangs, the spring motion is a bit too expressive and they're clipping with the face. To reduce the movement, I'll have to edit the bone property inside the expression dictionary file. Decode 𝗬𝗟𝐿𝐴_YAD to an XML file and locate the bone tag value for one of the hair bangs. In my case, I searched for 𝗃𝗶𝗱𝗃𝐵_6, which is the ID for spring left hair, and located the jiggle properties that way. From here, I toyed around with the vector 3 and vector 4 values. To my understanding, vector 3 controls the delay of the spring motion when movement begins, and vector 4 controls the amount of wobble when the movement has been suspended. You can freely experiment with other properties to suit your desired effect. When configuring the values, pay attention to their axes in Blender as they give you an idea of what direction the bone will move in. After some time, the values have been configured in a way that prevents the front bangs from clipping with the face. Here are the new values compared to the old ones. And here is the final result of the hair bangs swaying in-game. As for hair scaling, that will be tested later in the video where I have a motorcycle helmet prop added to my ped. Moving on to props, I'm going to showcase how to add glasses and hats. In CodeWalker, locate a ped prop file. They all have a P suffix. For my project, I'll be using mpf_𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 position of the skeleton head bone. In edit mode, select the root of skeleton head bone, press Shift-S and select Cursor to Selected from the radial menu. This will move the 3D cursor to the root of the bone. Next, select the drawable dictionary file of the prop file, which in my case is mpf_01p, press Shift-S and this time select Selection to Cursor. This will result in the prop relocating to the skeleton head bone. From here, rotate the prop so it aligns properly with the head. Next, I'll rename the drawable dictionary from mpf_01p to 𝗬𝗟𝗍𝗍𝗍. You can name it whatever you want. I'll also rename the drawable models and geometry to get a better overview, but this is entirely optional. Here's a pair of designer sunglasses I want to replace the existing glasses from the imported file with. Fortunately, replacing them is pretty simple. First, in edit mode, make sure your custom glasses are deselected and the vanilla glasses you want to replace are highlighted. Select your custom glasses in object mode, shift-click the vanilla glasses, and finish off by pressing Ctrl-J to merge the two objects into one. Enter edit mode, and you'll notice the vanilla glasses is the only mesh highlighted, thus making it easy to delete. Don't forget to add the proper vertex color and illumination. The vertex color is painted orange with hexadecimal code #FF800, and vertex illumination is painted with solid black. As for the UV, props only use a single UV for the texture. The second UV is not required for props. Now the prop file is ready for export. Select your drawable dictionary, in my case 𝗬𝗟𝗍𝗍𝗍, and enter the export settings. In there, make sure Selected Objects is checked, while drawable and drawable dictionaries are highlighted under Sollumz types, then hit export. After export, import it with CodeWalker and create a texture dictionary containing the required textures. Before launching the game, the glasses have to be activated in the Ped metadata file. Open apm.xml and locate the block of code for your Ped. Search for props name and replace null with the name you defined for the drawable dictionary of the props, in my case, 𝗬𝗟𝗍𝗍𝗍. Be sure creature metadata name has MP creature metadata in it. This will come into play later in the video when we add a motorcycle helmet that will shrink the hair when worn. This value will also play a role in correcting player height relative to different types of footwear. Now it's time to launch the game and try out the glasses, right? Nope. It's also required to have the prop activated in the Peds YMT file. Open your Peds YMT file with YMT Editor. Once opened, click on Props followed by PEyes. This will activate the glasses and automatically creates a drawable. If you have more drawables for glasses, you need to manually add them by expanding the PEyes section and clicking the Add New Prop button. Let's launch the game and test out the glasses. As you can see, they work perfectly. For some reason, 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝐽 is having difficulties viewing props that are exported with Sollumz. I don't know if this is a Sollumz or a 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 issue, but if you're experiencing this as well, don't be discouraged. When testing it in-game, it works without issues. You've seen glasses use drawables like 𝗃𝗍𝗶𝗍𝗃, but what about hats? To create a hat prop for my ped, I'll duplicate the whole drawable hierarchy for the glasses and replace the word eyes with head. The new drawable rig is named 𝗃𝗍𝗶𝗍𝗃, a drawable model named 𝗦𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃, and a drawable geometry named 𝗦𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃mesh. I'm going to replace the duped glasses with a hat, so I found a suitable hat prop for my ped, specifically a dunce hat from GTA Online. I'll follow the same procedure as I did with replacing the old glasses with my custom glasses. When replaced, make sure the shaders, UV maps, and vertex colors are set. Export your drawable dictionary for props again and import it with 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃. Update the texture dictionary so it contains the diffuse, normals, and specular for 𝗃𝗍𝗶𝗍𝗃. Open YMT editor again and activate the hat props by clicking Props followed by 𝗃𝗏. Save your YMT and import it with 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃. Now launch the game and test out your new hat prop. As you can see, my character is a bad sport and has been crowned with a dunce hat. The cool thing about props, they drop once your character gets hit during a fist fight. Now let's add a prop that will actually scale down the hair once it's equipped. For this, I'm going to replace the dunce hat with a custom motorcycle helmet. The base has a ped shader and the visor has a 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 shader. Export your props and import it with 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃. Update the diffuse, normals, and specular map for the new hat prop as well. By the way, this helmet has two diffuse texture. One is red and white, defined as 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, and the other is green and black, defined as 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃B. Both diffuse textures are added in the texture dictionary file. Now open YMT editor, expand the 𝗃𝗏 section, and locate the settings for 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. Let's start by instructing the game that the helmet has two alternative diffuse textures. Click the View Textures button to expand it, then click +1 texture to add an additional texture variant. Pay attention to the texture letters. You'll see texture letters for A and B. These letters match the suffix of the diffuse textures for the helmet. Next, click View Prop Properties to expand it and pay attention to the field on the far left inside Expression Mod. This field adjusts the scale of the MH hair scale bone. To expand it, add a positive number, and to shrink it, add a negative number. In my scenario, I want the hair to be shrunk once the helmet is equipped. We have to define this as a motorcycle helmet, meaning whenever my ped gets on a motorcycle, she'll put on the helmet. I need to add the value 136193 to prop flags. That number will cause your ped to put on the prop when it's getting on a motorcycle. Since I weight painted the parts of the hair I want to hide with a low weight value, I have to add a low negative number. The game can accept a range between -8 to +8. However, in YMT editor, the range value is only -2 to +2. In order to insert -8 in the field, you will have to import the YMT with 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 first, then open it from there to manually change the value. So, save your YMT and import it with 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃. Once it's imported, open it and replace -2 with -8 and hit save. Testing in-game, you can see the hair shrinks when she's wearing a helmet. She will also automatically use it when she gets on a motorcycle. And of course, the two textures are random each time she equips them. You're probably wondering, why don't you do a high weight paint value for MH hair scale and set the expression mod to -2? Well, that works too. However, when entering a car, the hair shrinks as well, which is not something you want. Using Franklin's afro hairstyle as an example, it shrinks when equipping a motorcycle helmet. However, it also shrinks when entering a car. This is best illustrated by raising the roof on a convertible car. As soon as the roof is closed, the hair shrinks. This works favorably with this type of hairstyle, but not necessarily with your custom ped. Depending on your ped's hair, you only want the hair to shrink when equipping the helmet. The weird thing is, this ped isn't affected by this like my other peds are. Even though I weighted the ponytail with a maximum weight value and added -1 to expression mods, the hair does not shrink when entering vehicles. I have no idea why this is. So to conclude this, start off by weighting the parts of the hair you want to hide with a maximum weight value and add a negative value inside expression mods that YMT editor allows. If your ped's hair shrinks when entering a car, weight the hair with a very low value and set the expression mod's value to -8. Now it's time to add some clothing variants for my ped. The current design of her outfit is a tad too formal. I want to add a more casual summer vibe to her. I created an alternative outfit in the source software and exported it to Blender. Starting with the dress, I followed the same procedure as with the existing dress. I weighted the mesh and created vertex colors to both channels. I adjusted the UV maps for both channels and baked the new diffuse, normal, and specular textures for the upcoming component. With all that done, let's set the new mesh up for Sollumz. I duplicated the drawable rig and drawable model from 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and renamed them to 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. I also created a new Sollumz shader for it, named it appropriately for my new component, and added the correct values inside the texture parameters. _diff001a_uni for diffuse texture, _normal001 for normal texture, and _spec001 for specular texture. Also create a medium and low level of detail for your new mesh. Oh, by the way, during the process of weight painting, I had a clipping issue with the dress in the sprinting animation as seen here. The cool thing is, you can import the actual animation to Blender and easily remove the clip. To do that, dupe a drawable rig only. For example, I'll dupe the head drawable rig. I'll also unparent it so it's not part of the drawable dictionary. In fact, I'll create a whole new collection just for that rig. I'll name the collection animation and move the rig into it. Also, rename the rig inside the Object Data Property tab. I'll name mine Animation Scale. Now let's say I want this running animation in Blender. As you can see, the clip dictionary value is movef@generic with clip value set as run. Remember these values because they play a role later in the process. Search for movef@generic and export it as an XML file. In Blender, highlight Animation Collection, enter 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 XML import, and select the XML file. Before importing it, pick a target skeleton. I've named mine Animation Scale, so I'll select that one. Once imported, you'll now have your Animation Scale rig along with movef@generic clip dictionary inside your animation collection. Expand the clip dictionary as well as expanding clips. Locate the run animation and select it. Inside the Object Property tab, you have the option to apply clip to NLA. Click it, and the animation scale should now play the run animation. To make this easier to work with, change the bottom panel from timeline to nonlinear animation. From here, you have the option to enable parts of the animation by ticking and unticking a checkbox. In this example, I will untick the animation that contains root motion location in the name. This will make the animation stay in place, making it a lot easier to weight paint. To assign a mesh to the animation skeleton, simply change the armature object to it. When done weight painting, change it back to its correct drawable. Now your ped is ready for export. Just like with props, under Export Settings, make sure Selected Objects is checked, as well as ensuring that drawables and drawable dictionaries are the only ones highlighted in Sollumz types. I apologize if I'm skimming the _001u process. As mentioned earlier, it's the same procedure as how I made _000u in my previous video. If you want to see the process in full detail, you should see that video instead. Link in the description below. After export, import it with 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and update your texture dictionary so it contains the textures for your new upper component. Next, open YMT Editor and expand the upper section. Click Add New Drawable and hit Save. Import your updated YMT file with 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and test out the outfit in GTA 5. Now my character has a new dress in her wardrobe, but the dress-pantyhose combo is a crime against fashion. Let's give her the option to remove the pantyhose. To do that, I will reuse the same lower 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and feet 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃u components, but add an additional diffuse texture like I did for the motorcycle helmet. Update the texture dictionary so it contains the additional diffuse textures for the lower and feet components. Open YMT tool and expand the lower and feet section. Click the View Textures button, then the +1 texture button. Save your YMT, import it, and relaunch the game to test it. As you can see, she looks much better. Right, let's add the Birkenstocks. Again, I follow the same procedure as I did with _001u. You know, weight painting, vertex coloring, etc. I'll duplicate the existing drawable rig and drawable model from the feet 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃u and rename them to feet 𝗃𝗃𝗃 The only thing to take into consideration is the sandals are not as tall as the pumps and we have to instruct the game to lower the height so she won't float when wearing them. export your ped and import it with CodeWalker. Then add the required textures for the sandals into the YDT file and save the changes. Open YMT Editor again, expand the feet section, add a new drawable, and expand it to properties. In the far right field of the hash 𝗬𝗓𝐴𝐸529D row, I'll input a lower value than 𝗃000U. The pumps had a value of -0.5, so I'll add -1.2 to get my ped closer to the ground. Save it, import it, then launch the game. Now would you look at that? It works flawlessly. My ped has her height adjusted according to the footwear. Last is the necklace. I want this accessory to be hidden by default and only accessed through the wardrobe feature. To achieve that, I need to create the first accessory component as a dummy mesh. Now what is a dummy mesh? A dummy mesh is a drawable geometry that's hidden inside the ped, invisible to the player. First, I duplicate an existing drawable rig and model and name it 𝗬𝗓𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. Next, I'll create a plane and locate it to the root of the skeleton head bone. I'm weight painting the plane to follow the skeleton head bone and apply the correct vertex color. As for the shader, I create a ped shader, but I'm not going to add any values to the texture parameters because it won't matter as this mesh will be hidden inside my ped. With that done, I can now duplicate a new accessory component, this time accessory 001U. The necklace will exist within this component. Follow the same procedure as previous and export your ped. In YMT Editor, I'll enable the accessory component as it's deactivated in this case. Enable it and make sure there are 2 drawables for accessory, then hit save. Import it and launch the game. With the game booted up, the default accessory component, which is accessory 000U, is not visible to the player. Only when I change to the next accessory component, which contains my custom necklace, it becomes visible. And there you have it. A dazzling new look for my character. My ped is now ready for a tropical climate. Now I truly believe my ped is finished, and she's fully compatible in a game and in cutscenes. She has props like glasses and a motorcycle helmet that will hide her hair when it's being worn, and of course, new clothing. There's not much else to add to this character, so I'll call this project complete. Before ending this video, I want to repeat myself by giving props out to the Sollumz team for their work on creating Sollumz. If you're interested in modding GTA 5, I encourage you to follow their official Discord server for updates, help, or keeping in touch with the community. As always, please read the server rules when joining. And yet again, thanks to
𝗃𝗶𝗱𝗃𝗃
for the YMT tool. This tool seriously saves me a ton of time when working on ped projects. Thanks for watching my walkthrough. I hope you found it beneficial and look forward to see all the cool ped mods submitted for everyone to use. I don't have much more to say, so bye-bye.